adversity they remain. Agents of the nobles, defenders of the straight line. Embracing the challenge, they continue to refine their commitment unwavering, purpose divine. In the pursuit of order, they will always align. In a world of curves and bends, they stay true. With clarity and focus, they see through. Their resolve unbreakable, their hearts pure and blue. With unwavering loyalty, they pursue. In the face of adversity, they remain. Agents of the nobles, defenders of the straight line. Embracing the challenge, they continue to refine their commitment unwavering, purpose divine. In the pursuit of order, they will always align.
Up to you.
And we are live. Welcome everyone. I'm going to be going over. That's working, isn't it? Yeah. Going to be going over a chat that I had with Will Duffy. I don't think many people have heard this one. We did have a short one to Discord only last night. But I've almost forgot. I've finished my my tribute to the Globe, the trilogy, musical trilogy. 'Tis Globe, to go along with Globjig. So I don't know whether you want to hear any of that. Maybe we can get into that afterwards. So we're going to be going over a chat I had. Now, what do you reckon? Do you reckon you want to interrupt and comment about things, or do you want to hear it all the way through and then talk about it after?
Maybe play it and see if people can bite their tongues till the end.
Yeah, okay, right. So I've already had a conversation with Will. So when you hear this will be me talking to Will Duffy about the final experiment. But if you think, you would like me to pause it, anybody in the Discord, and if you want to get involved in this, comment about it, come on into Discord and you can have your say along with everybody else. But otherwise I'll, because I've already had this chat. Now, I'll say this, most of the time, whenever you have conversations with people, you imagine them going some way and it never really fits the bill. Now, I've talked to a lot of people, so I knew going into this that certain, tactics would be employed. And so I tried to keep my questions as open as possible so we can learn as much as possible from it. And most of the time it's what you guys get from it, because if anybody comes into Discord, you'd know that these conversations that we have are completely open to personal interpretation, and there's many different ways these can be taken. And whatever you imagine of what Will does or acts like he's, that's everybody's own personal opinion. If you want to have a say about it, come on into Discord. Right, let me get this up on screen. Oh, you guys want it as well, don't you? Right, so you guys out first. You have to look at the big face. I'll give everybody in on the YouTube. Right there, Will Duffy, little face Will Duffy, or do you want to see the big face? You guys on YouTube. What do you reckon? Do you want it? Big Will? Let's see. This is what I had to look at when I was doing it. I think. Guys, all right with that?
It's quite small on YouTube.
Yeah, I've just made it a bit bigger. You have to wait for a few seconds to catch up. And now Will wanted me to be on camera, and I wouldn't have minded being on camera, or at least showing my face, but for some reason this Zoom thing doesn't really work. Rob Keane, 3 years. 3 years, member. Thank you very much, Rob. Shows how long we've been going at this. Most of the stuff we talk about in this is sort of, you know, what we've all been having to deal with. Is that all right? Like, big face Will, you guys on YouTube, is that okay? Not too scary?
Well, I don't know. I'm hoping most people will be able to just look away from the screen, because after a
make
while,
it a little bit smaller. I mean,
yeah, I think maybe people don't need to just. They want to see his face, but maybe not massive.
Okay, let's see.
Not in their face, you know.
There you go. Let's say there's a little bit there, right? Okay, so I'll you've got to see his face, right? Because I think a lot of these sort of things you're dealing with like a poker face, really, is what you're doing in these sort of things, and you get used to it over the internet. Well, I still think those visual cues, they're still you're still able to do them. We do have an expert. Kevin is in on these sort of things. Should be interesting. So like I say, if anybody wants to jump in, notice anything in particular, I might be pausing it a couple of times to explain some certain things.
I want to say welcome back. I'm glad you're back. Thank you.
Well, we have been on Twitch. Been doing some gaming though.
I don't use Twitch.
And it is my son's 18th birthday tonight. So the original
happy birthday.
Yeah, cause of the me coming into this arena and fight the flat earth's ridiculous comments now have no bearing, because he's an adult. So look out for some stuff coming soon. Right, here we go then. This is me talking to Will Duffy on Friday night, I think it was. Yeah, it was.
It's okay. Let's just roll with it.
Okay. Thank you very much for doing this.
Happy to.
Yeah, Will Duffy from the final experiment. Can we say?
That's
now,
right.
Can I ask you why you call this the final experiment? Why is that? Why, what brought you round to doing this?
Well, yeah. So the first thing that happened is in 2021, I learned that flat Earth was a thing. I didn't realize flat Earth was a thing. I thought it was a joke.
How did you find out about it then?
Yeah, a friend of mine, she posted about flat Earth on Facebook, and I noticed a bunch of likes and hearts on her comment, as opposed to laugh emojis, which you'd expect with a joke. So I looked at the comments, and people interacting with her were serious. She was serious. I engaged with her and found out that she's a flat earther and that there's tons of other flat earthers. And I was like, wow, okay, this is going to be interesting. And my personality is one that likes to get involved with things like that. So I decided to engage and watch videos she sent me and read articles she sent me. And then before you know it, I was watching debates and other people's videos and looking at thousands of memes. And then I even ended up at an in-person debate between a flat earth pastor and a globe earth pastor in Nashville, Tennessee, at the end of last year.
Is that the one that I think Dave Weiss titled the Great Cosmological Debate or something like that? I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. The two people debating were Dean Odell and Greg Locke.
Those names sound familiar, yes. Now, that is something I wanted to ask of you, because I've been around this for a fair bit. Consider myself, well, I see it as a false dichotomy, the whole thing, right? We can get to that in time. But particularly saw that debate, and it was eye-opening for me, because I've always seen the division that's been caused between the flat versus globe, and introducing it into what I would class as a religion, right? It's a faith-based thing, the religion side, right? But this shape of the earth is very divisive, and to add that into, I don't know, it seemed very strange to me. And did you see it as that, or?
Yes, a little bit for sure. I personally think that the shape of the earth should be one of the easiest things to figure out, and it doesn't have to involve religion.
Yeah, I've never really, I mean, I'd seen the flat earthers talking about, how the Bible proves flat or whatever. I've never really seen the globe earth side using similar tactics. But that particular debate was the first time I'd ever seen a stage show where these two pastors were going, and they were bringing this. I consider it the most divisive thing that we talk about today. Most people, because of the fact I consider it as a false dichotomy. So there's no true answer to it. The flat versus globe is only ever going to be, it's one or the other, right? It's you're pushed onto one side or the other side.
Yeah, I don't think there's a third model.
Well, see, I think there is reality. We can, right? I think you completely shirk that, because I'm going to support. That's me. I paused it. I was trying to point out that, because this is a serious thing that we had, within this Discord server, that when they did that biblical cosmological debate, they titled it the Great Biblical Cosmology Debate. That was, like Will Duffy says, that was what kicked him off onto doing what he's doing now. And that was when they placed a false dichotomy in the midst of a faith-based religion thing, and then place this choose your sides into the religion. And I don't think anybody's ever answered that, but it's obvious that this guy, Will Duffy, he's a pastor, and he's also adding this flat earth versus globe earth into a faith-based thing. That can't be good for it. They're meant to be pastors. They're meant to be together within this. It's weird. I don't get it. And that's what mainly that's, you know, I came into this because somebody spurred me by saying something really weird. And that made me interested. Same as this. Whatever they're doing in religion and adding this false dichotomy model, choose a model. And exactly as that, he says here, he doesn't believe there's a third model. So I'll break that down logically. I say it's a false dichotomy, meaning you can prove both of these choices false. Will here says he doesn't think there's a third choice, i.e. he imagines that flat Earth versus globe Earth is a true dichotomy. Therefore, all you have to do is prove one of them false and the other one becomes true. That's the method we've been dealing with for quite a long time. Will's just pointed out, I'll go back in 10 seconds. He doesn't think there's a third model. Pushed onto one side or the other side.
Yeah, I don't think there's a third model.
Well, see, I think there is reality. We can both agree that there is a reality. And if you give the false dichotomy, so we particularly do quite a lot of logic. And I personally don't think there's enough logic in the world anymore. So I would say that if you were given the false dichotomy, all you never need to do is prove the other side false. So with argumentation, I could prove the globe false, or I could prove flat Earth false. Now, proving either of those false doesn't mean that the other one is true, because that's how I consider it a false dichotomy.
How would you prove flat Earth false?
Just elevation changes.
Okay, but that's not what flat Earth means.
Well, again, this is another thing I'd like to get around to. I ask a lot of people this. 2 questions. Here's a strange thing as well. When I said if you can prove both of them false, he didn't ask me how to prove the globe false. He asked me how to prove flat Earth false. And then when I said elevation changes, he said he doesn't think that's true. So I'm struggling to work out here at the minute. Is this guy a flat earther actually? Is this all some sort of a weird play by flat Earth Society?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. Yeah.
Am I cut? I think I'm cutting out. Hang on.
This is Will Duffy, Mishu. You must have heard of this guy. The flat Earth.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Go on.
It sounds like Will Duffy's a flat earther.
That's what I was saying.
Okay, I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Look at what he's got wrote up behind him. TFE. True Flat Earth. The Flat Earth. Well. He's got a flat Earth model
No,
there.
it's the final experiment. It's the final experiment.
Right. Okay.
You should have a watch of have you ever watched the Truth is Stranger Than Fiction YouTube channel? He put out a video saying we are the final experiment. That's the title. It's not actually that we are the final experiment, but if you get a chance, Bev, in your own time, you should watch it. The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. His name's Will. He's been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll post it for you later.
Yeah, cool.
Sorry to distract.
Yeah. So this guy, he asked me how I would prove flat Earth false. He doesn't bother asking how you prove the globe false. Like, doesn't he know already that it's not a flat Earth? it's strange. I'll put it back a bit. So that's how I consider it a false dichotomy.
How would you prove flat Earth false?
Just elevation changes.
Okay, but that's not what flat Earth means.
Well, again, this is another thing I'd like to get. So, what does flat Earth mean? If it's not that the Earth's flat, then what does flat Earth mean? Does anyone know that? It's one of the weird things. I've been asking these sort of questions for quite a while.
I could tell you what it means to me, but that's all I can do is just tell you what it means to me. Right? Like I said on numerous occasions, if I were able to get up 120,000 feet in the sky and just look, it would look flat, but it's not. Thank you.
Right. So you're going, it looks flat. That's what you're after. Do you think that's what Will means? Not that it is flat. It's just that it looks flat. If you squint your eyes a bit, look at it from a distance. Will never explains that. And I don't think a lot of people can get around to. I ask a lot of people this. Two questions. One, what do you consider flat earthers think flat Earth is? And the second question is, what would you consider flat Earth is? You know, to differentiate between the two.
Yeah, so I think there's a real easy way to show the two models. In the flat Earth model, the water on the Earth is flat. And in the globe model, the water on the globe takes the shape of a sphere. So on your model, I think you have to pick one or the other. I think water on whatever model you have is either flat or takes the shape of a sphere.
We have a Discord called On the Level. We consider that not just an idiom, but level to be provably horizontal.
Okay, so that's the flat Earth position.
Well, that's the cheeky get. How would you do that? I came into this because I was saying that level is a straight line on a horizontal plane. In reality, obviously provable. Doesn't mean the Earth's flat. Because it's not flat. Because there's elevation changes. But we can definitely prove that level is horizontal. And people put that on the model they have. Everyone does.
Yeah,
Now,
he's got you tagged as a flat earther, hasn't
yeah,
he?
somebody tells you you're a flat earther because you put level being horizontal on your model. But my model isn't a model of a flat Earth.
No, he's just presuming that you're a flat earther.
Yeah. Because of that.
If you say horizontal, that makes it more concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's horizontal in reality? We've been dealing with these sort of things with people for fucking a long time. This guy, Will Duffy, has just assigned somebody who lives in reality, can prove that level is horizontal. Obviously. Wouldn't be it if I couldn't have done it. Like, I wouldn't say that if it's not provable. Obviously, it's provable. Look at the grin on his face. It's quite good fun, that, isn't it? I'm just going to tell you you're a flat earther. You realise how many flat earthers this guy just gave? Go back and listen to this again. But level to be provably horizontal.
Okay, so that's the flat Earth position.
Well, the flat Earth position is that Bev can prove that level is horizontal. I think it's the globe Earth position as well, right? It's people in reality can also prove this to themselves. Dead easy. That's the reality position. because you can go to any shop and buy a level, and that level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference.
Yeah, I've never put a level on water. I think it would sink.
Well, have you ever heard of a water level?
No.
No. A water level is the original tool. It's just a tube or any container of water, and the pressure state within that water will provide a horizontal plane of reference. So the water level has two ends, and those two ends are of an equal altitude, let's say.
What's the biggest water level there is?
The biggest one I've got is 400 meters.
Okay, and what do you find with that?
Well, we did a test, and that was to prove Euclid, or the Euclidean principles, having a straight line lying within a plane.
Okay.
It's geometrical, but it goes along with the logic theme that we do.
Did you involve any globe earthers with your test?
Yes, I'm pausing it. I'm pretty sure both my son, youngest, he lives on a globe, pretty sure. He's got a model of a globe. Everybody has a model of a globe. So there were people involved in this, doing this test, but I don't think it requires. It's not a thing to do where, nobody says you have to involve a globe earther, is there? When doing tests, is that a requirement? Anyway, anybody can come. We did say this. Anybody can get involved in this. Anybody can go over these principles that we're talking about in order to do this test. It's dead easy. Anyone can be involved. And yet again, he's got that grin. Well, I don't know. What do you mean? But there have been a lot of people that have looked at what we do, and the geometric principles, the logical principles behind it.
Yeah, the problem with all of these tests and experiments that have happened in the past is there was no collaboration between both sides. That's what makes the final experiment so unique. We're doing this with both flat earthers and globe earthers together.
Unique. Yeah, well, it's similar. This one, it's a lot cheaper, but anyone can do it. That's why we did it. But I mean, we did it a long time ago. It's I don't want to get into a conversation about that just yet, or maybe at another time. What we're trying to consider here is your final experiment.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, and I feel really good that there's a true dichotomy going on, and so
see, he feels really good that there's a true dichotomy. It's a false dichotomy, but I mean, he feels really good. It's a true dichotomy. Don't be fooled by sophists.
No, you did let him get away. I think because you're in it, you don't always catch everything.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have let him get away with keep going on about mentioning the two sides, because this has got nothing to do with the shape of the Earth.
Level.
Neither did the test.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, he's model afflicted, right? This is model affliction Monday. And that's what you have to go over. Like, you can go into these conversations imagining that you're going to have all sorts of different lines. But this guy's model affliction, I think, leads him away from the actual conversations that we're talking about. And it's, he's so convinced in this true dichotomy because he's set up this thing called the final experiment.
Yeah, he's more model afflicted than I am. And I admit to being model afflicted. Thank you.
He really needs this false dichotomy, right? He needs it to be a true dichotomy. And in his head, I think he's made it a true dichotomy. Therefore, that's how he's allowing himself to call this the final experiment. Because they will either be light at the South Pole or there won't be light at the South Pole.
Yeah, it's globe or no globe. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, I don't want to go too much.
We could look at it as one model, water is flat and level, and the other model, water takes the shape of a sphere. I don't think there's a third model.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then your final experiment is looking at lights in the sky.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would it not be simpler if you say that there is a true dichotomy, either level is horizontal or it is not? That's a true dichotomy. I'll give you that.
Yeah, the reason we're doing something involving the sun is because there is no model that I'm aware of that's a level model, a flat stationary plane that can have both a 24-hour sun in the north and a 24-hour sun in the south. So if there is a 24-hour sun, that would perfectly match the globe model. If there's not, that would falsify the globe model.
Yeah, again, that to me, because we've just done a thing a bit ago about how the flat earthers have a problem. Well, particularly the flat earthers and the globe earthers have a problem with perpendicular. Perpendicular being right angles, right? The cross.
It depends on how you're defining perpendicular.
At right angles to each other, as defined.
Okay, so if I grab a piece of paper and I draw two lines that are perpendicular to each other, you would say those are not perpendicular because they're not perfect?
No, I would say that is the definition of perpendicular, is two lines at right angles to each other, right? So
yeah, but we can't draw something with freehand that's going to be a perfect right angle. So I'm just curious, if I drew a cross, if you would say that those are perpendicular or not.
Well, that's, if you're drawing a cross and saying these represent perpendicular, then that would be perpendicular. That's, you know, as simple as that.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
Okay, now the problem, I take it you know of Nathan Oakley?
Yep.
No. Nathan Oakley has, as one of his housekeeping questions, how do you have an angle to a curve? Have you heard that?
I have no idea. That's
Okay.
not my
Well, this
that's
is
not my
where
area
I get to.
of specialty.
On the flat Earth model, north, south, east, and west, or in reality, north, south, east, and west are perpendicular. Cardinal directions. You with me?
No, that's not true, I don't think.
Is it not?
So
Certainly on the compass they are.
well, on the flat Earth.
See, I'm going to go to it again. I'm pretty sure it's the flat earthers that get confused about that. I don't think anybody else gets confused about on it. North, south, east and west, cardinal directions, and they're perpendicular to each other. Both in reality, on a map, anywhere, it doesn't really matter. That's the way you do it. In reality, right? Now, obviously, because the flat earthers have this problem, then it seems like this guy's got the same problem. Put it back 10 seconds again. Listen.
No, that's not true, I don't think.
Is it not?
So
Certainly on the compass they are.
well, on the flat Earth model, you actually can have.
See, why is he talking about the flat Earth model? I'm not talking about the flat Earth model. I'm just talking about in reality. Why is he going to the flat Earth model? Flat Earthers normally go to the globe model, right? This one, this guy's going to the flat Earth model. We call this model affliction. He's trying to associate with the other model. Then he can try and prove that one false. And that gives him free rein to keep imagining whatever he wants to.
two people
Weird.
going in opposite directions, and in the flat Earth model, they're going in the same cardinal direction, right?
That's the problem. That in reality, and as far as I know, on the globe model, right, north, south, east, and west are perpendicular.
Okay.
Right. Now, the flat Earth model has north being at the center, which means east and west becomes a circle. Right. Now, when you take an azimuthal bearing, you measure an angle from north clockwise. Right. Now, if you are measuring that angle and you go to east, but east is a circle, as it is on the flat Earth map, then are the flat earthers not actually measuring an angle to a curve? Because that east is a circle. East-west is a circle on the flat Earth model.
Yeah, it is a circle.
So,
by the way, what did you say about the cardinal directions on the globe model?
they're perpendicular. Well, in reality, they're perpendicular, right? North, south, east, and west.
I'd have to think that through. It sounds...
Why does somebody have to think that through? Is north, south, east, and west perpendicular? Do you seriously question yourself when somebody like me says north, south, east, and west, they are perpendicular, right? Not only in reality, but on your model too. And you have to go, let me think about that. I'm not too sure. Surely you've thought about it. You're going to go and do a final experiment. It's all about, based on the fact that the flat earthers have north, south, east, and west being, well, east and west being circles. That's the whole basis of his so-called experiment. He's falsifying the east-west circle around a north point on the flat earth model, isn't he? Isn't that what his TFE is? But and he's unaware of the angle to a curve that generates from the azimuthal bearing. I mean, that would be an easier way to falsify it, like we've said to the flat earthers. Nathan Oakley's banned us. When obviously you'll have to leave it to you guys to ask people about the flat earthers why they imagine these sort of things, because they've cut off conversation with us.
Sounds right, but I'd have to think it through.
Well,
Dealing with a three-dimensional object that is spherical makes this a little bit complicated.
You've got longitudinal and you've got latitudinal. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, on the globe model, the longitudinal circle is perpendicular to the latitudinal circle.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So they're perpendicular. One's
Sounds
north
right.
south, the other
They
one's
are
east west,
perpendicular.
right? They
How do
are
we-
perpendicular.
And so what's the real...
So that's easy. I don't know whether he's because he's never thought about it and this is like a geometric thing. And considering models, like if you've got a model and you're obviously model afflicted and you have this model blindness, it takes somebody without a model to be able to look at these models objectively, I think. And the on the globe model, his globe model, the spherical ball, longitudinal circles are perpendicular to the latitudinal circles. So longitude and latitude are perpendicular. Simple as that.
world application that we can do here to end the debate? Because that's all I care about. I want to end the flat earth versus globe debate, which is why I came up with the final experiment.
Yeah, you'll never end it.
Well, hold on. I think I will, because, well, first of all, do you think there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
I wouldn't have a clue. Hopefully you're going to let us know, right? That you're the man.
Okay. By the way, I think you should at least care whether or not there is.
Anyone else think that you should care whether there's a light at
No,
the place that this
absolutely.
man's going to?
I really don't care. Why does everybody have to care?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
care what he cooks for his dinner at night. Really don't care.
Yeah, I don't care about how much light other people get. I know how much light I get, and yeah, I'm not really.
I care about a lot of things, but that's not one of them.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, so let's represent the people that don't care, right? Just for a second, and say that there are people out there that obviously don't care. They literally just don't give a shit. And I'd say probably better for them, really, because you don't want to be brought into this shit. The arena. I mean, like, who wants to get involved in the arena? Look at what Nathan Oakley's doing to Lumpy. Just look at what happens to people after they've been in this arena for too long. It's a true affliction. Sometimes drives you mad, as can be demonstrated by Nathan Oakley. Shout out Nathan Oakley. Keep watching. No. See, I don't actually have a model, so
So then you can't do science.
What do you mean? Yeah, I can't do science. Can't do science. If you don't have a model or don't give a shit, can't do science. Science is looking at lights in the sky, I think. Having a model and then spending a load of money to go and look at lights in the sky.
Science is about making predictions and testing them. That's how we've advanced so much in society. So if you don't have a model, you're not even going to be able to start the engine.
No, I can have reality. I can
no.
work with what we experience in reality.
What the sun does in Antarctica is reality. And so that's why you should care about it, because it is reality.
You're going to find out for us.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, that was the thing I want to get at. You are going, aren't you?
Me personally?
Yes.
That's undetermined at this point.
You've got to go. Undetermined. That's a weird answer, isn't it? Undetermined. This guy has paid, well, he is proposing to be paying a lot of money. He's paid for however many seats on the thing. It must be 3. It can only be 3, can't it?
He might not be able to leave the country for some reason. I don't know why. Draw your own
Somebody
conclusions.
stopped him from leaving. Because this is some of the weirdest stuff I've ever seen. Like, we do say I can't get much more weirder than this, but I mean, some guy that's willing to fork out, let's say Jared said it could be up to 45 grand for him alone. So times that by 3, a little bit, it's, let's say 100,000, right? This guy is forked out 100 grand, or willing to fork out 100 grand to let some flat earthers and globe earthers go. And he isn't going to go himself. So his final experiment is something that somebody else is going to do. He's not even going to do it. Not even going to witness it himself.
Not even his experiment.
Yeah, essentially it's just a group of already well-known people who make money off of the shape of the earth topic getting together in a certain place to wave their dicks around and say they've done something and prove something. Is that where we're at?
What's it gonna prove? That the sun does something?
No clue.
Yeah, I don't. But I think this is a bit fishy. This stuff, and even his reply and the way he brushes it. You can't
Trust
set
me.
this up. This is your baby. You've got to be there.
It is my baby. I want to go more than anything, but there's other people that it's more important if they go, because
I don't think so.
I'm a nobody.
No, you're at the end of this. You're not going to be a nobody, are you? This is the final experiment, right? Like you've said, one way or the other. This is the end of it for you.
That's right, and I think it should be for everyone.
Well, I don't consider it a thing anyway. Like there is reality. Should be the end of it for everyone. He considers this the final experiment because he wants it to be the end for everyone. We all can agree on certain things, right? There are certain things that we can agree on.
Yes, once we know the reality of what the sun does in the south, that is going to falsify one of the two models, namely flat earth or globe. And I think that that is the most exciting thing possibly in the history of this debate. Don't you think it would be good to falsify one of the two models?
He's a pastor.
Yeah.
Right? I can think of one thing comes immediately to my mind that would be way better than this stuff. Any ideas what it would be?
What, from the flat earth globe?
No, completely different topic. As a pastor in today's day and age, why have you got involved with flat earth? Why have you not gone for something, I don't know, like can a man be a woman? Is that not something Christianity, religious people, that kind of thing would be more interested in? Wouldn't that be a better final experiment as well?
I guess there's many, isn't there? But yeah,
well,
this
is my point.
Something to do with flat Earth, right? He's triggered by it somehow.
Yeah, the final experiment, only in your opinion, mate, for anything. It's just, it's narcissism.
Might not be going. He's going to call it the final experiment, right? He might not even go, and he wants this to be the final experiment for everybody, even the people that don't give a shit. He wants to try and make this a final experiment. This is weird. For a pastor to be bringing this false dichotomy, it's the most divisive thing there is, isn't it? This arena. You mention anything within this arena, somebody will always have some way to rebut or, just call you a liar. Or maybe even like Adam and Nathan calling Lumpy a pervert. Well, it was really weird. I don't know what's happened to this place, but that's where we're at the minute. So people wanting to imagine they've got final experiments and they want to consider everybody, even the people that don't give a shit. Never even considered. Imagine how many people out there that have never even considered what the lights have to do in certain different places. And then this guy wants to make it into something. But the flat earthers aren't unified like the globe. You might convince some flat earthers, because I've been talking to flat earthers, and some of them do agree that the sun goes around the north point, right? Some of them, they're a little bit harder to pin down on, maybe like me, because they just live in reality. We don't know these sort of things. I don't think anybody can know both of these things at the same time to know whether the sun does go around the north point. I mean, I think it's ridiculous. They're putting
by the way, where do you live?
I'm in the UK.
Okay, cool. Do you believe New Zealand exists?
Do I believe it? Well, yeah.
And why?
Because I've heard of people. In fact, I've talked to some people. Execrate to 2000. He's lives in New Zealand. At least he tells me he does. He could be lying.
He could be, but the reality is so much of our world we believe in because of people who have been there and have observed it. And so if there's thousands of people who have observed a 24-hour sun in the north, people that live in Finland and Sweden, and people who have visited Greenland, that's good enough. But it gets even better when they take a video of it. And so we've got videos of the 24-hour sun in the north. So there's no point in...
We've got a guy who comes to our Discord server who lives in the most northerly city there is.
Oh, perfect.
So, you know, he can confirm that, and he has confirmed it for us.
Okay, great. So all I'm saying is this, is that if there's a 24-hour sun in the north, and then if there's a 24-hour sun in the south that's at the exact opposite time of year, and it rotates in the opposite direction of the north, that cannot happen on any stationary flat plane.
I would say because of the...
Sorry. Yep. You're chopping.
Sounds gone.
Discord. Okay. Sorry, YouTubers. The Discord people want me to reset my stream. Yeah, you back? Go back 10 seconds.
It rotates in the opposite direction of the north. That cannot happen on any stationary flat plane.
Good to go.
I would say because of the circling around the north. Yeah, I would say that's a problem.
The key is having both of them, and them going in different directions at different times of year. That is something that would be that could only work on a globe type model. Any
different directions, is that a thing?
That's not true though.
Different directions. The sun goes in different directions. That's what Will said. I'll go back again. I'll go back 20. Around
That's
the north.
not what happens though.
Yeah, I would say that's a problem.
The key is having both of them, and them going in different directions at different times of year. That is something that would be that could only work on a globe type model.
Different directions, is that? I don't know. Is that a thing? Has anyone else ever heard of this? Different directions
are relative, though.
East to west. West to east would be a different direction than east to west, wouldn't it? Is it purported that the sun goes from west to east? I've never heard of that, but he said different directions. East to west can't be different directions, ridiculous. Can it? It's this east to west is east to west. It's not a different direction. I don't know. I don't know, Eric. It's one of those things, but it's his final experiment, and it apparently involves different directions of the sun. I'll go over that. I'll give you one more chance to listen to it. I will be putting this out as a video. Around the north. Yeah, I would say that's a problem.
The key is having both of them, and them going in different directions at different times of year. That is something that would be that could only work on a globe type model. Any flat stationary plane, that could not work.
I would say so. If they're round the circle of the sun, I can't work out in reality how the sun would go in different directions in different places. It doesn't make any sense, that, to me. But I'm new to this sort of stuff. I don't know. I don't think there's enough conversation about the technical aspects of what people imagine experimentation to be, you know, all of these things, the technical nuances. I'm into all of that sort of stuff. This sounds like something new. I've never heard of it before. Around the north, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what we're going to find when we get to Antarctica in December.
Oh, look at Petey's there, says, the sun travels left to right for us in the UK. It won't do that in Antarctica. It will travel from right to left. There you go. Backwards. But is that east to west? Or is that west to east? Or
Left
do you have
right
east
are
and do you swap
relative to
east
the
and west
direction you're
around?
facing.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the thing that they've got to explain to people in reality. Because most people imagine north, south, east and west are perpendicular, like I say. We try and make it as simple for the normal folk. Not to show that this is easy for people. Yes, it's still east to west, but going the other way round. It's because it's a circle, right? East to west is a circle, therefore east to west is every direction because you're having it around a circle. Sounds nutty to me. But
I'm excited. And the coolest part is that if the sun does not do what the globe predicts it will do, I'm going to become a flat earther on the spot.
I wouldn't say that. Don't do that.
Huh?
Don't do that.
Why?
Because you don't. That's not real, is it? You're not going to become a flat.
Yes, I will.
What? Let's go back to it then. What is it? What's a flat earther? What's the difference?
A flat Earth model. The water in that model is flat and level.
Well, look, he does this again. He does it a few times. Every time we've asked him about flat Earth, he goes to water. Yet his final experiment is watching lights in the sky. Does he seriously think he's going to falsify a water level establishing a horizontal plane of reference because lights in the sky?
I love it, Bev. I love it. It's so great.
It's mad, isn't it? Why is he doing it? He's doing that. I'm just asking him. The difference between the flat Earth and the globe Earth, apparently, is that water level is a tool that establishes a horizontal plane of reference. And he wants to falsify it by lights in the sky. Because he's associated something that's got nothing to do with flat Earth.
So it's not going to be the final experiment then.
Yeah, he's trying to falsify level being horizontal. With some weird way of doing it, rather than just, like, falsify level being horizontal. Surely. In reality,
it doesn't curve around a shape.
Yeah, like in reality, a water level is a tool that establishes a horizontal plane of reference. Now, lots of people put that on a globe.
Put what on a globe?
The level.
And what do they find?
No, they live on a globe. Everybody knows 'tis globe, right? He didn't understand what I was saying. He literally didn't understand what I was saying.
Sorry, Beth, did I hear say that about the water level? What did they find?
Yeah. Yeah, they I meant mentally, they put the things that we have in reality mentally upon the model that they call globe. But he thought I went literally. They put levels on globes. I mean, I have seen people do that, and I think that's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, you can get your globe, can't you? Put a level on it. And what would they find? They find you have to balance it, I would have thought. Depends how good you are at balancing. Everybody knows it. So
And what do they find?
Globe.
Lots of people
globe thing
put
on
that on a globe.
Put what on a globe?
The level.
And what do they find?
No, they live on a globe. Everybody knows tis globe, right? Everybody knows it. So, you've got to take what happens in reality and what can be proved in reality and place it on that model. You're going to come up against problems if you find yourself conflicted.
The beauty of a model is it can be tested. And so we can test the globe because it's a very specific model, right? Like the globe model says the sun is 93 million miles away. That's a very specific number. And so that can be tested to see if it's wrong. And so if the sun sets in Antarctica, then the globe model is wrong. And I'm totally fine stating that the globe model is wrong and that it's been falsified.
Well, I would say you can't really measure the distance to the light in the sky. None of them. It's just not possible.
People claim you can. I don't know how they're doing it, but again, if we put specific numbers,
people claim you can. I don't know how you do it, but people claim you can.
I was gonna say it's I don't know it, but it's known.
Yeah, somebody else will know it, right? Obviously, not me.
Yeah.
Somebody else
Believe
must.
it.
Yeah.
If it's with the faith thing, you just believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
I was gonna piggyback with Buster right there and say he sounds a bit more. He's more on fire about this globe than he is about his own faith. I think, from what it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Talk about that in a bit, hopefully.
on things, then that allows us to at least begin to say, okay, let's test it to see if that number is right.
Yeah, but how test it? Let's test it to see whether the number that's impossible to measure. Let's test it to see whether it's right. We don't know how they do it, but people have claimed it, so let's test it. Weird. Do you test it if there's no way of actually measuring it? It's an impossible test for measuring something that you can. I mean, the best you could do would be to measure an angle.
Well, I don't agree with that.
Well, how else would you measure? Like, we know in reality, you measure the shortest distance between 2 points. Now that's a straight line.
Sure. So theoretically, if you could put a reflector on the moon and shine a light to the reflector and back, couldn't you measure it that way?
Could you measure the length of a beam of light?
Well, I'm just saying, can't you measure that?
Okay, I don't know how you'd measure the length of a beam of light.
Well, by you base it on the speed of light.
And that's known?
Absolutely, that's known.
Well, fair enough then.
Okay.
You measure the start time and the end time when it comes back?
That's right.
Two-way. There and back. Because that's one of the problems, isn't it? That they're unknowing of how that travels, whether it takes half the time to get there and half the time to get back, or no time to get there and all of the time to get back, or vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole key here is all of these debates that happen every single day, they're not getting anybody anywhere. I listened to them for 2 years. They're just not going anywhere. So that's why I created the final experiment.
Yeah, there is no debate. And there never has been a debate. There's a
that's
lot
not
of
true.
People, well, go on. What's the best argument that you've ever heard?
For what?
Debate-worthy argument for either globe or flat.
For the globe,
yeah.
Photo evidence is the best argument I've heard.
Argument, though, is it? For debate. Presenting pictures isn't an argument worthy for debate. Is
Well, it's considered evidence in a court of law that can convict someone. So it's pretty powerful evidence.
But it's not. There's no debate around. Here's a picture. Look at it. Accept what the picture says. I mean, that's no debate. That's why I say that there's never been a debate in this. I call it an arena. Flat Earth versus globe Earth.
Yeah,
It's hard to trust people in this arena because there's a lot of people you find to be untrustworthy due to lying.
That's the purpose of doing an experiment. It removes opinions and bias.
Yeah. Like I say, I don't consider myself a flat earther, but I do know people like you have considered the level being horizontal, even though that's the reality position, provable. You consider that to be flat earth.
Okay, so are the sides of a cube horizontal?
If you've leveled it, yes. I'm gonna do big fish, little fish, cardboard box. Watch this.
Okay, so
the top and the bottom are horizontal.
What about the sides? It's a three-dimensional object.
Perpendicular.
Well, no. These two sides would be horizontal to each other, correct?
No.
And these two sides would be horizontal to each other?
Parallel.
Yeah,
Well,
right?
Horizontal and parallel are different. Horizontal is a certain orientation, and vertical is perpendicular to it, yeah?
Yeah, so if the Earth was a cube, how would you describe that?
What? If the Earth was a cube, how would you describe it? You've already described it as a cube. The cube is the descriptor. It's a geometric descriptor, right? That explains it all.
But what I'm trying to say is that you'd have horizontal and parallel
that's
going
vertical.
this way.
You're doing vertical there.
Well, okay, so then we can go like this.
Yeah, at 45 degrees. To either horizontal
what is
or
that?
vertical.
With a cube, all eight sides, is it 8 sides? Yeah. Or 6 sides. All 6 sides
faces
would be in different angles and different locations. And so how would you describe that? You couldn't just say that they're all
to one another.
Huh?
They're perpendicular to one another. The sides of a cube are all perpendicular to one another, apart from the ones that are opposite and they're parallel to one another.
Yeah. See the complication here? This argument is never going to convince anybody, and it's never going to move the deal forward.
It's not an argument. It's just it's not an argument to say if the Earth was a cube, then the 8 sides would be horizontal. Don't know. It's madness. Don't know what he's talking about. I don't know why he does it. I've noticed a few people do these sort of things. Think he's come to justify it to himself. I don't know. Just saying that horizontal and vertical, they are perpendicular. That's one of the things that we can agree on.
Well, again, if I draw a cross on a piece of paper with my hand, is that perpendicular?
If those two lines are perpendicular to one another, because that's what it is. Perpendicular is the relationship of one line to another line.
Yeah, but help me understand. If I draw a cross on a piece of paper, how will you determine if it's perpendicular or not?
Because you'll have put the right angle symbols on it, and that would determine, that you're trying to depict perpendicularity.
But that doesn't mean if we look at it like under a microscope that it's exactly 90 degrees.
No, because perpendicular is a geometric term, right? You can't get as exact as geometry. They're just descriptors.
I'm just saying, if I see a cross on a piece of paper, how do I know if it's actually perpendicular or not?
You wouldn't know. But you do know
Okay.
that horizontal and vertical are perpendicular to one another. That's something that we can all agree on.
And
That
how
no
does
matter
that
what
help?
model you have,
How does that help at all?
because it's a starting base where people can agree on certain things. The fundamental first
Okay, great.
principles.
Let's say we agree on that, then
Mm.
what?
Well, then we're okay. We're all living in reality, and we all understand that certain aspects of reality can be agreed upon.
Yeah, one of the aspects of reality that I can't get a lot of people to get excited about is what the sun does in Antarctica.
Yeah, well, I think you can get you have got a lot of people talking about this, because in the
Okay, good.
background there are people talking about it. But can we get back to it? Right? I think you've been quite clever with this, because what this effectively does is it splits the flat Earth camps into two. It puts that division that we talked about at the beginning, flat Earth and globe Earth. This particular thing puts that division, because certain flat earthers have generated a flat Earth model. And this flat Earth model has you measuring angles to lights in the sky, and the sun goes around the north. But so that's that model. Now, those people I call the grassroots flat earthers. They would snap your heels off. They'd say, yes, Will, sign me up, get me over there. I've got my camera. I want to go and watch this, and I want to be there, right? But the people that you're asking seem to be making excuses, let's say. They're coming up with reasons why either not to go, or why there may be a light in the sky for 24 hours, and coffee cup caustics, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that split is happening, but the only unless you actually go and talk to the flat earthers in the chat rooms and the discords and that, you'd never know this, because you only get to see these vocal flat earthers, the ones that are on YouTube, and they're the ones that are coming up with excuses. Therefore, I see a split. Now, was that intentional?
No. Here's the reality. After the final experiment happens in December, if there's not a 24-hour sun, every single globe person going forward, the first question that needs to be asked of them in any conversation is, how do you explain that there's not a 24-hour sun in Antarctica? And they won't be able to give an answer. If we go to Antarctica in December and there is a 24-hour sun, the first question going forward in perpetuity to anybody who believes we live on a flat stationary plane is, how do you explain a 24-hour sun in the north and the south that go in different directions from each other? And they won't have an answer either.
And here's the thing. The people that just don't give a shit will still just not give a shit. And it won't make any difference to anyone. It's just lights in the sky and what the lights in the sky do. Those of us that, live in reality don't really give a shit. And I think it's only the people with the models. And what you have to do for this particular thing is you have to take on a flat Earth idea of circular light in the sky round a point in order to gain the position that Will's got, to imagine that you can falsify it. So you have to take the flat earthers. But flat earthers haven't really thought about this sort of stuff. They're not really aware. Most people in reality aren't aware of contradictions that they have to hold in order to take on one of these models. Either of them doesn't make any difference.
So this is the beauty of what I've created.
Well, yeah, I think the globe model was created because of these sort of things. There's, let's say, contradictions within reality that you're sort of forced into accepting, and I think you're playing on those sort of things, right? Because you understand logic, right? And like we said with science, one of the ways that we use science is that there's no such thing as a contradiction in reality. They don't actually exist. These paradoxes, they're tricks, if you will, to be solved. Would you agree on that?
I think here's the cool thing. If you're right and we don't live on a globe, then I will prove that in December. You should be so excited for that.
Everybody knows 'tis globe. That's our thing.
Here's the problem, though, is that people who believe we live on a globe are contacting me and they're making videos saying, Will, we will admit we're wrong that we live on a globe if there's not a 24-hour sun.
What?
So this is pretty significant. It might be more significant than you realize.
Is the globe a model? How significant is this? Because, I mean, I take it most of the people that are watching us here, right? You've been watching us for quite a bit. How significant is the light in the sky that this guy's going to go on a trip about, right? How significant is that to anyone?
My around here or in general?
Well, yeah, just like, well, I mean, around here, mainly for the people that are watching us, like, how significant is this to just the people that are listening at the minute?
Well, I'll speak for myself. Not at all.
Yeah.
Like wouldn't even, and I suspect that's the same for most people. If you took a statistical poll, and asked people, it probably wouldn't even statistically make the list of anything that people would be concerned about.
I just feel bad.
Designed it as it's significant to him, right? Because he's called it the final experiment.
Yeah.
Shame on those people that have no idea this is even going on.
Right? They don't know what they're missing. They're missing a guy who set up a quote final experiment unquote who likely isn't going.
Well, he likes to be called a pastor. I think he's a
whatever.
Yeah.
But this guy is likely not going. Like he says he'd love to go, but he said at the beginning he's likely not going.
So
go on.
Everybody might be breaking up. I'll wait.
A little bit,
yeah. I like, and now I'm not joking when I say this. I say I don't have a model. It's not just literally because I don't have a model. So to me, imagining that the lights in the sky have some sort of bearing on reality and how your entire view of reality would change because of that, it requires you to have these models, right? And to be willing to change from one to the other, which I don't think people can actually do. Coming from a position with no model, it wouldn't make any change anyway. So I can't imagine why you having these two different models would make a difference. I can't see what the difference would be.
Well,
for me, I
go
can't
ahead,
either.
Buster. Go, Buster, because we can hear you. Go.
Just real quick before I break up, for me, if you know levels horizontal, it wouldn't make a bit of difference. But what I find the most funny is that the people they nominated to ask to go are making excuses not to go. And even the guy that's saying he created this doesn't want to go. It's like, it must be not significant to them either.
Yeah, therein lies the I think you're right, Buster, but therein lies the contradiction, right? Because he said it's very significant. He's trying to make the point that this is super significant. This is somehow earth-shattering, to coin a phrase. I mean, So again, the contradiction is just crazy to me. It's just crazy.
Yeah, you
But
can even hear the genuine excitement in his voice.
yeah, well, you can see the smirk on his face, the big smile, toothy grin. I mean, it's all great, right? But
That-
but here's the thing, right? Bev, to your point, you are a realist. You live in what you call reality. Reality for you is what you can experience, right? And what you have experienced and what you've done and the proofs that you can come up with to prove to yourself, right? I think most people aren't that way, and that's what we've found. That's what I've found. Because while you didn't have a model, I found I had a model, and I had to let it go, which takes a little bit of work, but you can let it go, and it truly doesn't matter. It truly does not matter at all. Now, Dave Weiss and other people like that say, "Oh, it really matters because it matters to know how these these people, quote unquote, whoever they are, have lied to us." Well, you could say that with just about anything. Anything. Your local politician has lied to you, right? The guy that if you have your gas pumped or your petrol pumped, that guy that's doing that is probably lying to you, and he squeezed you for a couple pennies. I mean, come on.
There's a
This is just nonsense.
few pivotal moments like within my around here, and like I've been dealing with the globe earth and flat earth and never considered it, right? It's just a false dichotomy that they require to keep it going. But this guy Will Duffy did an interview with I can't remember his name, but his channel's called Kingdom in Context, and it's another pastor, and they're discussing it between the two of them. And obviously the guy's living in reality, and he's trying to come from the flat earth side within the Bible. Now, that to me is the only viable where it does make a difference, because that's why I think this is so divisive to the religion based thing. This guy's he's more involved in the flat earth versus globe earth, right? You don't hear much pastoring coming from this guy. Whereas in this other debate with Kingdom in Context and Will Duffy, he put it across and he said, it does matter, because the kingdom of the heavens, right, are a certain place that, that's been wrote. And he did it to the firmament, right? So he's basing it on the firmament. Now, Will Duffy has entered this debate into the religion. I think there's something to that. I don't know why. Don't know why he's taken it into this. It seems like he's a pastor, but he's just entered into the arena, the false dichotomy.
I can tell you why. You'd like to know.
Please.
Now, this is not for sure. Like, I'm not in Will Duffy's mind, but the reality of the matter is this: whether he believes it or not, whether he has malicious intent or not, or any of these other pastors do, right? They are either knowingly or unknowingly putting forth a false god. That's just the bottom line. These little graphical pictures behind his head are false gods. That's what they are. And that's what he's giving. That's why it's so important, because we call it the monad, right? And anybody that's listening that hasn't heard it before, look it up. It is an idolatry type figure, one could say. That this idea of a circle, a sphere, a center point, it's all monadic. And that's what it is. That's what this guy's doing. Again, knowingly or not knowingly, because if it weren't that way, right? How I know this to be true is because if it weren't that way, this guy would not be talking about this subject at all as a pastor or anyone associated in a professional manner with a Christian-based church, a Bible-believing church. Would not happen, because the most important thing in that religion is to bring people in that don't have a knowledge, what they would call a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ and the sacrifice that Jesus Christ made for them. It's part of that religion, and teach them about that that's the most important thing. But that's not what this guy's doing. So I can clearly say that this guy's God. The little circles behind him, that's his God. And that's what he's passionate about. You can hear it in his voice. You can see it in his smile. So, and I think it's the same for Pastor Locke, Pastor Odell, and I don't know who this Kingdom Context or whatever that thing is, but it's probably the same thing. Any pastor, in my opinion, Christian pastor, or be it, I'm not Muslim, but probably same for Muslims, probably same for Jews, probably same for Buddhists. Like, to my knowledge, there's no shape of the earth requirement for any known major religion in the world that I know of. Now, maybe someone would like to set me wrong and say, "Oh, yes, for this certain religion, you have to believe in one or the other."
Yeah, I think the Mormons have the biggest cosmological, because they
may, and I know that.
Yep,
and I know that religion quite well.
Yeah,
I know that religion quite well.
But we, you know, I'm not willing to comment on that. We have had a guy round here, and he's never stuck around for those sort of conversations.
Yeah, the idea is a universe and other quote planets unquote, but who knows what that means or does or anything? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
But again, shape of the thing that we live on, like that should have absolutely nothing to do with the religion that you're practicing and the goal of the religion that you're practicing.
There doesn't seem to be much religion in this conversation, right? Because I would really love to hear how the religion factors into this for him.
Oh, that would be great to find out. I'd love to find that out.
To know, but he doesn't seem to want to talk about them. It's always to the model, to falsifying this, and I don't know. He's doing this test. You know, this is about a promotional tour for the final experiment. So maybe that give him a benefit of the doubt, right? He wants to just promote this. He's limited on time.
I would say you are what your passions say you are. And if this guy is not out there talking about, you know, having a saving faith in Jesus Christ, which is what a Christian church and a Christian pastor would do, but he's rather spending all of his time, potentially money, on this cockamamie thing, I'm sorry. I know what your religion is, and it ain't the one you say it is. That's for sure. It's something altogether different.
Perpendicular to each other.
Yeah, perhaps he needs to talk to John D. I mean, we need to get into some of that, because that'd be fun.
Yeah.
He might know. Maybe he needs to know about John D. I bet he'd be really interested.
I don't think you can get to, you know, like what I said at the beginning. You go into these conversations with the idea that you can ask certain questions and all of that, but you seem to get led away from them. Mainly, I think, because people can't have these sort of types of conversations. It's difficult to talk about the first principles, particularly when you're dealing with reality basics, you know, because they're so fundamentally linked, aren't they? Your personal God and the first principles of everything, if you consider that. They are linked together.
I would think so. Yes, yeah. At least they are for me, and we've talked about that here many times. We'd love to have conversations about that kind of stuff. But to me, and I'm sorry I'm hogging time here, but I just back from meetings, and this intrigues me.
Yeah,
so
problem.
The one thing I wanted to ask you and anyone else that wants to chime in, like, is this just a fantasy? Like, if Will Duffy or anyone can think of these fantasy things, that somehow becomes reality for them, is that what's happening here? Because it seems to me that's the kind of thing that's going on. It's whatever your brain can imagine in fantasy world, and just say that's reality. Just apply that to what your reality is, and that's reality.
Yeah, it's his final experiment, and not really anybody else's, because like we say here, right, these proofs that you gain, they're yours. They're not for anybody else. they can go and get them themselves if they want to go on that journey or whatever, and you can help people on them. And it's my idea that the pastor should be aiding people on that journey to discover these things for themselves, not set up a false dichotomy and then some sort of an experiment and force people into some sort of conclusion that they're not even ready for. It's weird, but that's the arena that we're in, isn't it? So I think that's why most of us are here, trying to work out, make sense of this nonsense. This is just another.
I'm only here to learn.
That's hard to do.
Yeah.
Making sense of nonsense.
Model to you, like flat Earth. You know, that's what I consider these flat Earth and globe Earth. You put a model around these terms.
Yeah, the globe is a model, and it's a very precise and specific model that is helpful because then we can go test it to see if it's right.
Well, yeah, I would consider it a shadow on the wall, right? In the cave. It's just a model that somebody's put there for you to use your mind to, to accept. The same as what's happened to the flat earthers. The flat earthers have generated this model where they've got the sun going in circles. But that deals a contradiction to them. That their azimuthal angle is now an angle to a curve. The very thing that they are asking the globe earthers, how do they do it?
Yeah, I think you're going to have a hard time gaining people's attention and getting them excited if you're not willing to at least put forth a model.
Oh, a model level is horizontal, provable.
That's not a model.
Not a model to say that level is horizontal. It pretty much is, isn't it?
Wait.
So it's a model of level.
You broke my model when you said the sun doesn't travel in a circle above the North Pole.
Broke your model.
Speaking of which, my coworker is back from the Yukon territories. I'm hoping to have a conversation with him today.
Nice.
So hopefully he won't break your model then, Rob.
Well, no, I want to ask him if he saw the sun for at least 23 hours or 21 hours or whatever it is.
And will that mean
where was it for those
goes
3
in a
hours
circle?
that you didn't see it? Well, if you witness it traveling above you in a circular pattern, then yeah, I would say it travels in a circle or an oval, whatever.
Okay. Do you think other people would say the same?
I would say anybody that lives in the north like that and sees it for 24 hours or 3 days in a row, not going away, that you could call that a circle above you.
Okay. And would you say that's proof that the sun
it's not proof of anything.
Goes in circles? Would you call the sun an object in motion? Because you happen to see it go round in a circle.
Yeah. I would say it's moving, not me.
It's weird. Is light an object?
No, but an object can emit light.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting stuff. But it's not a proof because it's just an observation. There's no
100%. I'm with you, Beth.
There's nothing else to. So I mean, it's just a light in the sky. Go on. Was that you, Elder?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking. People talk about this stuff, and it seems like nobody's been there and seen anything or proved anything at all about any of this stuff. Really, it's just astounding. Really, some of it.
It's great, isn't it? Like
models are built on nothing, but just an image that somebody posted somewhere, or an idea that there's concentric circles.
If you went to the north and saw the sun for 24 hours, that would depict some sort of model, no?
No.
I wouldn't
Well,
think
it
so. I
might say
think
something, but I don't know.
you'd have to
Yeah.
place it on a model because you're the one that's
Yeah,
in
I'd
it.
have to make a model. Yeah, I'd have to make one
Yeah.
to copy what I'm seeing in reality.
But
Yeah,
you'd
I
have to put
understand.
yourself on a model to be able to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
observe this thing. So
I'm with you.
you're constructing the model that you're standing upon in order to make the observation. That it's a backwards way of doing any
I'm in
sort of
agreement.
experimentation to
Wrong
imagine
way to
then
do it.
that what you see depicts the model that you've constructed from where you're observing. It's just strange to me. But I guess you need a model to have science. You can't do science without a model. And if you've got a model, then in your science, you can make an observation, and that's some sort of proof. In fact, that's the best argument he could come up with within this debate. Was a picture.
Would you say that if someone was building a model around the sun going around a certain point, that they'd want to verify that that point exists where it is and that it's measured from some other point in reference? Wouldn't that be fair? Do you think?
I think it's just people with no proof imagining that this is one of the methods that they can acquire some sort of proof about something about where they live. It's pretty sad, really.
I do as well.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, since we're on the conversation of models, and you're building a model, wouldn't you have to? And that model it includes a light going around a certain point. You'd have to not only be able to observe the light, you'd have to be able to observe the light at that given point. Like you personally, someone. And I don't know that that's even with Rob's example of his friend in the Yukon. I'm not sure that the Yukon qualifies as whatever the North Pole is, if that even exists.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not quite there, is it, Yukon? Yeah, I mean, I woke up last night, in the middle of the night, early hours of the morning, thinking who had worked out the geographical position of all these stars. I think, who's done that? Who's done that with Polaris even? And fixed that to a place on the Earth and said, right, it's right there above us, right there. That's supposed to have been done for centuries, that's been a thing for centuries, and yet, the first, the recorded, journeys, expeditions to the North Pole, supposedly, are in recent times, really. The first North Pole station or whatever, it's in the 30s. I think so much stuff is based on these things that you think, well, who's recorded every star and its position, supposedly, its geographical position on the Earth?
Shadow giants.
Yeah. Who? How would you do that? I mean, it's a hell of a lot of stars.
Sure is.
To go around and find each one and say, here it is. It's here. At this time, it will be
right
here.
Up there. Oh,
yeah.
There.
Yeah.
So
the flat earthers.
Reverse plumb bob.
Yeah, because it seems to me the flat earthers are stuck with Polaris. And when they've got to...
They can't move away from Polaris, right?
No.
We've been
They
dealing
got to
with
the minimum
obviously. Nathan Oakley can't deal with those questions to that angle, to that light. And beyond that, you have to take another 2 bearings from 2 different lights.
Yeah.
That's where Nathan Oakley never gets to.
No. They got 0 to 90 to Polaris and 5,400 nautical miles from the equator on the flat Earth to the North Pole, and that's it. And then beyond that, what? It can't tell you, where the next point is. So now we got to there. We got to this distance. So now we pick up this star, and this takes us this distance. And then beyond there we pick up this next star. We heard him talking about the what's the Octantis, the South Pole star. He was talking about, as if that, you then pick that up, but it seems like hardly anybody's seen it and can see it. It's, I think, well,
it's not a visible one, is it?
No, what? Yeah, and so all I hear is this 0 to 90 to Polaris, and that's it. And then if I've asked him, well, what happens next? Well, I'm not interested. I don't care. There's other stars, Can't get a position fix for the celestial navigation. Don't know where the dip correction comes from. How to the geometric principle of how you change that vertical distance into an angle, and just say the ground and horizontal. There seems to be a lot of stuff based on vagueness. Nobody's been, well, have you verified that GP of Polaris on the Earth? Have you been there? Well, no, we don't know. I think the Globers we spoke to, they don't know either. And then they say it's not 90 degrees anyway. It's not at 90 degrees. It's you've got to go past the North Pole to get to the North Pole, and then go south from the North Pole to find where the North Pole is.
You're just
at
confusing
90.
people now, though, right? You've gone along with the nonsense model and found all of the flaws, but as you speak of these flaws, you're the one that sounds like you're mad, because it sounds like you're rambling, because you're just rambling nonsense. But that's something that's generated through this arena, and I think that's part of it, right? They require people to talk this nonsense, and they won't talk it themselves. So it then requires somebody to find the nonsense, to speak the nonsense. Then these guys can point at you and say, "Not that."
Yeah,
and then where does that leave
you'll
everyone?
never hear. Sorry, I was just gonna say you'll never hear a globe earther bringing up 8 inches per mile squared.
No, I mean most of that stuff. Well, pretty much all that stuff I've only heard from flat earthers who seem to teach the globe more than anybody, and do anything they can but talk about anything specific about the flat Earth. And you want to investigate.
Can we finish this off, and then we can
more
start with
and
these
say,
conversations?
yeah.
Gone a little bit off track.
Yeah, but it's all carry on.
Let's get this done. But that's a model, like you said, that that could end the thing. That could end it, couldn't it? So
on a cube Earth, you'd say both of these are level and both of these are horizontal.
No. Go back. Think. That could end it, couldn't it?
Wait.
Yeah.
So,
wait a minute. There you go.
What's a cube Earth?
Yeah. I don't know what he's talking about or why he's done this, but this is similar, right? This is like a reverse thing of what the flat earthers do to the globe, right? Because the flat earthers always talk about the globe, like we've just said. This guy now is obviously a globe earther, but this is a reverse thing. He's got some sort of cube earth that's going to be some sort of rebuttal. It's like, I think it's his pizza model, but it's 3D.
Yeah, cube Earth has developable surfaces, though.
Yeah. But like, you've got to watch this bit, right? Because this is, let's say, geometric illiteracy. Like, reality geometry, right? So this is so weird, this.
On a cube Earth, you'd say both of these are level and both of these are horizontal.
No.
Which is which?
One of them would be horizontal as an orientation, and the other one perpendicular to it would be vertical.
Okay, but hold on. Imagine we have this cube Earth,
Yeah.
and you're over here on this one, and someone else is over here on this one.
It's on the slope.
Guess what? It's level and horizontal for both of them.
Obviously, you were doing a bridge. You were making a point to, like, they're not level.
In this example,
That's not level though, is it?
You have two horizontals that are perpendicular.
Yeah, that's... Look at that face. Do you want me to... I'll rewind it, right? Listen to him. Listen to him, and then keep that face in mind, right?
Two horizontals that are perpendicular.
Like, they're not level.
In this example,
that's not level though, is it?
You have two horizontals that are perpendicular.
Two horizontals that are perpendicular. In this example, with his fucking smile on his face. It's like, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Imagine giving somebody an example where horizontals are perpendicular. Utter nonsense. Yeah, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
No, it's a model.
No. 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 It's worth a clip, this. That's not level though, is it?
You have two horizontals that are perpendicular.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
No, it's a model.
Oh. Who has that model? Come on. Anyone? Horizontals being perpendicular? No? Will Duffy's made a model. I don't know who he's going to subscribe that to. Yeah, you have this. This is you.
I remember Flat Earth Math had that model. He had vertical and horizontal being parallel.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Things that shouldn't be said out loud. This guy's just said one of them.
Yeah.
Like, you are model afflicted. There's nobody in reality that would understand what this guy's talking about. But, you know, model affliction Monday. Listen to it again. That's not level though, is it?
You have two horizontals that are perpendicular.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
No, it's a model.
Oh. But yeah, but having horizontal perpendicular to horizontal, that's ridiculous.
Well,
I mean, you're not going to try and sell that, are you?
No.
No. Good.
Yeah,
I think, so why did he bring it up? Why did the dude say that? What's the point in that? It's so weird.
The point was kind of what I was getting at, which is any fantasy that you can come up with is a model that you can apply and then test. And then, you know, if you can, you know, come up with enough evidence or maybe some even some received opinion, shadow giants. I mean, there you go. It's all you need is one scientist to say we live on Klingon.
Yeah.
And we'll all be speaking Klingonese. I mean, with the ridges on the forehead. So let's go.
Yeah, we did come into this. We've got one of the old DP memes where one person's horizontal is another person's vertical. Sounds ridiculous. Basically similar to what he's just said. It's just, you know, a lot of, you know, harder to work out the nonsense. Whereas doing a ridge symbol with your hands and say these two horizontals are perpendicular to each other visually is absolutely crazy. And I never thought I'd see somebody like, you know, because Will Duffy's he's a big figurehead in this now, right? He's pushing this. The globe, he's got the globe behind him, obviously. He's got backing from the guys who go on the trip to Antarctica. He's got backing from McToon, obviously. He's McToon's good buddy. Although he's tried to distance himself from that. But yeah, there's, he's got a lot of backing for the globe, and to say something like that, a little bit weird. That's ridiculous to try and assume that there is horizontal that could be perpendicular to horizontal.
Yeah, but if you at least consider it, if the Earth was a cube, which is theoretically possible, then you'd have to look at the two people that are on these two sides of the cube and what their life looks like. They never travel outside of here, and this person never travels outside of here. And so they're going to go out like you are and make observations, and they're going to be wrong.
Yeah, you don't get somebody stood horizontally on a vertical wall. That just doesn't happen.
Well,
I guess we've just proved cube Earth false as well, haven't we?
Well, yes, cube Earth is false, but it kind of
it's theoretically possible. But,
why?
It's
I was
false.
just going to ask why. Why is
bring
it false for him? Why? Yeah. Well, how does he just hand wave cube Earth? I think the cube Earth.
He brought it up. He made it up.
I know.
He's got a model of it, but he says it's false. It's it's ridiculous because you can't have horizontal, vertical.
Is it any more ridiculous than someone living upside down from you? I don't know.
Where up is down, down is up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Sounds ridiculous to me, but
hey,
these guys maybe not ridiculous to other people. I mean, it is 2024, right? All sorts of people.
Refutes the type of science that you're talking about, which is just looking out your backyard.
No,
that's not.
No, we're not talking about looking out the backyard. We're talking about actual geometric tests that can be done in reality, like all practical. The use of this, because like I say, I'm not a flat earther. I came into this because I told somebody that the horizon doesn't rise to eye level. It can't. I mean, how could it? It's ridiculous to assume that you could get the horizon to rise.
Do you think the stars move?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can see them moving, can't you? I've got a feeling.
How do you know it's the stars moving and not you moving?
Because I can watch the stars moving. I mean, I can move as well at the same time. I could say,
no,
I'm watching the stars moving whilst moving myself.
Okay, but how do you know that the stars aren't stationary and it's actually you that's moving? How do you test that? How do you know?
Right, just watch them.
If you were moving slow enough on a big enough surface, it would appear like the stars were moving, but it's actually you moving.
Yeah, but in reality, I can look up at the lights in the sky and see that they're moving.
Yeah, but again, you don't know how. You don't know how to test whether it's you moving or the stars. You don't know.
Well, I can. Right, this is something that's got me for years. This, right? Like,
so good.
You can see the lights moving, like just like you can see the cars moving. But what? Are you sure it's the car that's moving and not you?
To me, that's not even. You're right, of course, but to me, that's not even the worst part about this. The worst part about this is he's questioning a simple observation that you're about to make to determine, what you would claim as your world and how your world behaves. I.e., you're standing still, you're looking up at a night sky, and you can see the stars move, or over time you can see the stars move, right?
Yeah,
you can certainly see the big lights in the sky move, right?
Yeah.
But this guy is having a problem with you saying this, while at the same time, get this, while at the same time saying that his final experiment is just a simple observation. You just go down to Antarctica and you watch the big light in the sky. And if the big light in the sky stays there for 24 hours, bing, bang, boom, you've just proven one or the other part of a false dichotomy, right?
Yeah.
How does that jive? Like, how is that logical? How's that logical at all? He's saying he has a problem with you saying, yeah, of course I can watch the stars, right? I can go outside and look. And look over a couple of weeks or a month or whatever, same exact time, same exact spot, look up, and yeah, stars are moving. No kidding. Well, how do you know that? Well, how the hell do you know that you're going to go down there and see a 24-hour sun and think that that's going to somehow prove your false dichotomy, either right or wrong, one side or the other? It's just there's no logic there at all. None. Zero.
Model affliction, right?
Absolutely,
He's
because in
blinded
his model,
himself to his
Yes.
own model affliction. ECV'd it. It's great, some of this stuff that we've been doing, like it's showing us the way, really. Hope you guys can see that out there, listening in. But like I say, I can watch them, right? There are people that, like you, that would like to try and say, do you know that? But I can watch them, and so can you. Do you doubt yourself when you look at the lights in the sky moving and think, I wonder if it's actually me, or are the lights actually moving?
Yes, that is something that I consider. Absolutely.
Right.
but he's all right with the 24
Yeah,
hours.
yeah. It's a final
God.
experiment. But this, to me, like, you're watching something, and under no reason would you ever think, I wonder if the lights aren't actually moving. I wonder if it's me that's actually moving. You've got to put a model there. You'd never think that without a model. Would you? Because you've got to go upside down. If the lights aren't moving and you are, then you're going in a circle. It's you. I can't put my model-less brain to even comprehend me not moving. No, me moving, but the light's not. Anyway, it's just me, perhaps. I wouldn't. I just look at the lights in the sky, because you can't really tell anything from the lights in the sky anyway. Well, I mean, you can tell seasons and stuff like that, watching patterns, but you can't,
There's
like
a
I say,
lot.
you can't measure, you can't geometrically prove anything about the lights in the sky.
Well, the good news is I'm not measuring the Earth. I don't think you've measured the Earth. I don't know anybody really that's measured the Earth. So
I
I'm
have
only
done some
focused on-
surveying, though.
I'm only focused on shape.
Like I say, I actually have done some surveying, so I have practically measured the elevation changes. I know the methods that we derive these elevation changes from.
Yeah, but you haven't measured the Earth.
Well,
If you have, tell me how big it is.
no, not the totality of it, no. But
Right.
I have measured certain portions of it, and I know the tools and the methods used in reality to do these sort of things. And
Yeah,
as do lots of people that live in reality.
Yeah, and those surveyors are not measuring the size of the Earth. That's not their goal.
No.
So I'm gonna do the final experiment because I do believe it'll falsify a shape. I do believe it'll falsify flat versus globe. And again, I'm gonna put a challenge out to you, which is I want to know how you could theoretically make sense of a 24-hour sun in the north and a 24-hour sun in the south that go in opposite directions at opposite times of the year. If you can't put forth an explanation as to how that would work on a flat stationary plane, you've got nothing.
Well, I don't say flat stationary plane. No, that's ridiculous.
What do you say?
I just say it's reality.
Okay, so that's a cop-out.
Why?
Because it's a
Lots of
cop-out.
people live in reality that are unaware of this false dichotomy that you're trying to thrust upon people.
If I just tell you I know we live on a globe and you ask me how and I say because it's reality, is that helping the conversation?
His globe. That's how it goes. I don't know whether
Again,
you've actually been in any conversations or anything around the arena.
We are going to show the reality of what the sun does in Antarctica, and you're no longer going to be able to avoid it. That's the reality here.
Well, I think what you will find is there's a lot of people that don't care what happens to the lights in the sky. That's why I say this is particularly, it's within this false dichotomy, your globe and your flat earth. That's where this is your target audience. Anybody outside of that, I don't think they'd be bothered about it at all.
I am happy that going forward after December 18th, no one is going to be able to get a free pass anymore. And whatever the sun does, everyone is going to have to be able to explain that aspect of reality. And if they can't, then no one should really consider what they have to say, because that is going to be a piece of reality that must be explained for whatever model you're purporting to make sense.
There you go. So come December, the topic within this arena obviously will be what the lights in the sky do. It'll be the hot topic. And like Will Duffy says, if you can't explain it, then why should anybody listen to you?
So, what I'd like to know is, you know, again, maybe this would be great if we had polls we could take and stuff, but like, who's going to care one way or another? Let's say that he comes back with a video. Somebody took a video of a 24-hour sun. Is anybody going to care? I mean, some flat earthers will care because they are dedicated to that idea. This is the
flat versus globe, right?
Yeah.
It's a false dichotomy. This isn't going to end it.
Of course it's not.
It's just going to stop conversation, like Will says. If you can't talk about this, and you can't say whatever, then you shouldn't have a part in a conversation. So, see ya. You're out. Only the people that will be able to talk about the lights in the sky will be the people involved in the conversation for Flat Earth 2025. I think that's what he's saying. We're just going to get rid of everybody else. All of the other conversations that go on. If you had a specialist subject, you did Coriolis or something like that, sorry, you're done. Will Duffy's sorted out the final experiment. You're gonna have to be able to talk about the lights in the sky, otherwise, no conversation for you. Hopefully, we'll be as far out of this as possible by then, because I think it's pretty clear. We here don't give a shit about your false dichotomy. It's ridiculous. I'm more about trying to find common ground between people who live in reality and not people who want to talk about this model debate. It's just bad. Last 4 minutes. Yeah, not if you're making the first principles thing about level being horizontal. You know, the starting base. Because, like, look,
again,
we have distances from A to B. Right now, that's a straight line. Is it not? Like, if you say a mile, 69 miles, that would be a straight line distance, would it not?
I don't know. Depends on what your depends on what you're doing. So when I was in high school, I ran track. And so when I would run a mile, and it was in circles. So that's a mile that's not measured in a straight line.
Welcome to geometric illiteracy. Somebody who has no idea of a unit and the concepts of units within mathematics, the importance of the concept of the unit within mathematics. You can justify it by running around a track in high school. That's a 2024 modern science. That's how you do it. Justify anything you want. It's measured, isn't it?
Yes.
It's measured to be like a straight line. The 100 meters is a straight line.
And it's why we have something in math that is known as the circumference.
Yeah.
To measure a distance that is a circle.
Well, calculation. From the radius, straight line.
Well, anyway, I'm excited to report back to you on our findings and to hear what your thoughts are on our findings.
Yeah, I really am looking forward to, let's say, the drama that's going to unfold, because this saga, like you say, you've considered this a final. I think you'll find pushback from certain flat earthers that this is nowhere near final. Because
we'll see.
They do have excuses
tell.
for all sorts of things. Everybody has excuses in this arena for all sorts of. They've upped the contingency plans for every eventuality.
Well, we'll see. Time will tell. I'm hopeful. It is my baby, so maybe I'm a little bit naive, but we'll see. And
I hope you go.
I'll let. Thank you. I'll let you know.
What's the chances of that? Are you going to give us a, like?
I would love to go more than anything in the world. So if it's going to be possible and feasible and doable, I will be there.
Yeah, I would hope that you would be there, because I think the credibility of this would diminish if you were to not go. I don't think anyone would ever believe that it was your baby if you don't go.
That's the beauty of the experiment, is that the sun is going to do what it wants to do, whether I'm there or not. So we'll see.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. And hopefully we get to do this again. I would love to talk about the biblical side of this, because I think you're getting a pushback from that too as well, are you not?
Yeah, definitely.
Is this likely to bring a bigger split within? I don't know how it works. Are you trying to start a new? Is it a denomination?
No,
not with the globe in mind.
No. Nope.
Are there global denominations within?
No, I don't think there's. No, I don't think there's any denominations that hold that the earth is flat. So there is currently no split or divide. And so you could look at it as what I'm trying to do is prevent that from happening. So if we live on a globe, then I want everybody to be unified on that. But if we don't live on a globe, then I would like the church to expose that.
Mm-hmm.
Implying that.
Yeah, thank you.
So that implication then is.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry.
Yeah,
the implication there then.
Seconds.
Yeah, the implication there then is that in his mind the church is a globe church, so it's already a globe church.
He doesn't know, right?
No, I think he said
you can't have it. Well, no. The final experiment is going to be the thing to prove it. You can't. There's no point of having a final experiment if you already know it.
I think no, but I think his implication. The implication is that all Christian churches are globe churches. That's the implication, and he's just verifying that. He said he's verifying.
Well, he's already unified his two religions into one, and he wants everybody else to take on the globe within. But I mean, it's only within the religion, right? We were saying this about the flat earthers, right? Trying to bring everybody together underneath the flat flag of denomination, right? A flat earther church, the flat church. Well, it's like he's trying to do the globe church, but it's still really just churches. Are they not just exposing are they not just exposing the religification of their models? Both flat and globe, really. It's into a faith-based thing. They're just letting people know, aren't they? But they don't really have a proof. This is entirely faith-based. Anyway,
Seems that way. Seems
do
that
this
way.
last bit. Here we go. Thank you again, Will. Will Duffy from the Final Experiment. Thank you very much, sir.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.
There you go. That's the end of the chat. Say thank you, Gord. Sent some memberships out there. Thank you very much. Yeah, I did this with a recording that I did on Friday last week. Now we have been going live on Twitch. Not many people were watching. Doing a bit of gaming. But I decided not to do it live because I wanted the interview to go ahead. I really wanted to have a chat with this guy because I'm more interested in the religification of this model. And I've been watching it for a bit. I've been watching the Flat Earthers have their go, and some of the 24/7 guys, let's say, the people, the known scammers that are around. Well, they started trying to use this religion thing. And it seems like they're trying to use, in the background, Flat Earthers were trying to use religion and the Bible and quotes from the Bible to bolster their flat Earth. Like you could get proofs from the Bible or something. I don't know. Really weird idea. But I have this understanding that religion is a faith-based thing. That it's a religion because there's no proof. That's where you find your faith. Seeing as that's the thing, right? It comes from somewhere else. It's like a gift given to you, and you gain it, and it's a personal thing. Whereas this model debate, it's a false dichotomy. Call it the devil's work, if you will. But for them to try and place that within the religion, I don't know. It's not something that you would imagine, or I wouldn't imagine it coming from anyone in the UK. Any sort of idea, of vicars doing this. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine many people bringing, it's like bringing it into politics, isn't it?
Yes.
It just doesn't
very much
belong
so.
there. It belongs in a weird arena for debate, but there's no debate. So I don't even know where this belongs. Definitely not in the religion thing, though. I think it's dangerous.
Like politics, it belongs in this is how we divide people.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what false dichotomies do. But I mean, he said himself it's not a false dichotomy, it's a true dichotomy. But yet he brought up cube Earth. And then hand waved it away as he described he has a model for it. So a cube Earth would necessarily, if one existed, even if a model existed, necessarily means that the two other models are not a true dichotomy. Can't be. If you're willing to say that there's a possibility that you could create a cube model or a concave model or a hollow Earth model or what of the ones we've heard? I mean, the simulation model. I mean, there's probably could be tens, if not hundreds of them. Who the hell knows? Right? Like any fantasy you can come up with, you can make a model for.
But everybody constructs their own model.
Yeah.
Their own globe. It's a personal thing, and it's a model that you've made and constructed yourself over many years.
'Tis globe. Just
Yeah.
call it a globe. Yeah, the only ones that aren't really doing that are the ones that would say, no, it's a flat Earth, or it's a simulation, or it's a cube Earth, or it's a. But most people just go with this. It's his globe.
Yeah.
And then you ask him, is level horizontal? I go, well, what? Why in the world would you ask me that? Of course it is.
Yeah.
Have you ever put up a shelf? God, what's the matter with you?
Yeah, there's no reason for them to consider that one of them can't exist on the other, because they're both reality based. Both models that people have in reality. This arena is one of the weirdest places ever.
It is, and he's another weird character in it because, again, for someone who's so excited about something that he may or may not actually attend, it's strange to me. Really strange.
Never loses his smile.
Yeah. Like, if he really finds out that there's no 24-hour sun, I think he's gonna have a problem with whoever came up with either the video evidence or whatever evidence there was that there was not a 24-hour sun. It's gonna devastate him. He may not know what to do with himself. I hope he's okay. He's not suicidal or anything, because that would be terrible. Really, seriously. You get too tied up in one of these things, and then it blows your sense of reality. Where do you go? What do you do?
Well, in order for this, right, you have to admit that your comprehension of reality could be wrong. And I don't think anybody's willing to do that. Reality is reality. No. So
very few are willing to do that. Yeah. I agree with you.
You'd still find some way to justify reality with reality. I mean, that's what you've done already in order for you to construct your model. Level is horizontal. It's a problem to most people within this arena because it's a definitive statement that obviously can be proved. Or not proved, right? It can either be proved to be true or it can be falsified. It's the one true dichotomy that we do have. The same as vertical and horizontal being perpendicular. So there's some weird faces. So what did everybody think of that? I tried to make it more of a conversation about, I don't know. I wanted to take it away and, talk more about the religion aspect. But obviously he's on a promotional tour. And I'm hoping to get more conversations with people about these sort of things.
Honestly, this particular one, just like the Odell Locke thing, makes me sad.
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
Yeah, because I think there is a deeper meaning to the cross, right? That he sort of drew on a piece of paper, and that definitely wasn't where I was taking it, but that's where he went. That his mind went to drawing lines on a piece of paper, and that to me says a lot more. Speaks volumes. Let's say.
Yep.
But 2024, maybe there's a lot of people that don't associate the two together. Maybe not. I don't know. I would have thought, a man of. But like we say, you've got to have an idea of what perpendicular is, and I think both of these models are, well, like Will Duffy, right? He's preying on the flat earthers in order for him not to acknowledge his problem with perpendicular. He's found a way to ECV his own problems by pointing at flat earthers. And this is a flat earth problem, because they have a circle east and west. We've exposed it already as being impossible, because you can't have an angle to a curve. Therefore, you can't measure an azimuthal angle when east and west are circles, because therefore north, south, east and west cannot be perpendicular. So you can't measure an angle of 90 degrees to something that isn't a straight line. But the flat earthers have east and west being circles and not a straight line. It's quite often very, very simple. And that sort of thing, it may freeze people's brains into this state, what we call ECV, where people can't actually access memory and consider these things, because thinking of anything other than what is just can't be done. It's a nonsense. So you're being asked to contemplate a nonsense that you're supposed to already hold. Hence ECV, existential cognitive veiling, where the mind hides your thoughts from you. Because I don't know, it might just be too much to contemplate. I may have it too. I don't seem to have the ability to consider nonsense as a valid reasoning process. There's no point. There's no need for anybody to consider nonsense. If you've got a proof in reality, then that's enough. Very strange. Anyway, anybody else?
I think they'll
got
go
anything? Go on.
to all sorts of lengths not to face up to some of these anomalies and contradictions. The flat earthers particularly. Because when they're pointed out, they get pretty angry about it, or they just act like, oh, that doesn't exist, or you're lying, or you're stupid, or whatever, And like you were saying earlier about, this thing with Lumpy, who's been talking about measuring the Earth flat and how ridiculous the whole process is and how it's claimed to be, and just claiming that horizontal means that the Earth is flat is a ridiculous thing to say, and he's been saying that for quite a long time. And like you said, just it's clear for everybody if you wish to look at Nathan Oakley's recent little video he put out about Lumpy. They've treated him horrendously. I mean, it's shocking, the way they've treated this guy who's just been saying, "Hang on, don't be so stupid. You can't say you've measured the Earth flat." And now they're calling him a kind of pervert because he giggled when they said something. And so Nathan Oakley makes up some big story that he's getting sexually excited by this by telling them that they can't measure the Earth flat. And he turns it into a whole nother version, just so that because they can't deal with the reality of not measuring the Earth flat. This kind of a sales pitch will not be stopped by anyone, seemingly. It's so go from small things of just, like you say, ECV or don't want to engage or change subject to, if you keep asking the question, you're banned, you're silenced, you're given a bad name. And seemingly, people want to keep going on about Oakley and his rubbish, but, what's going on, is pretty shocking. If you stand up and say, hang on, can you just explain that? Or that's not possible. I mean, I thought that's what it was about. Asking some questions. And you can explain that. How does that happen? How can that doesn't work? And yeah, they'll go to any lengths, it seems, to protect this hashtag asset. It's just shocking, really. I'm quite shocked about it, and the way that those people around there are enabling it and supporting it, and not standing up for people who just questioning the narrative, really.
Right. I've got. Let's see. I've got my proof of his globe. Does anyone want to watch that? Object, the beginnings. I've been making a bit of music. Get this here. There's a trilogy of these. It's called the Globjic. They just make this a little bit bigger. Oh, it's not going to let me. Yes, it is. There we go. I don't know if anybody likes music or all of that. I know some of the people listening. Come on. There you go. Right, so this is the first of the Globjic. Can be found at the on the website on the level.live. Enjoy. I think it's about 4 minutes, 3 minutes 57. Let me turn this up. Right, yeah, here we go.
Proof of this globe. Everybody knows this globe, the globe defined. Since there is no geometric shape, it is a perfect descriptor for the whole of reality. We hear it on the level define the whole of reality to have a non-geometric shape called the globe. Therefore, you can feel safe in the knowledge that pointing to anything within nature at a distance from you can result in a statement, "'Tis globe." Rest assured that it is globe. Here we know the earth is definitely not flat like you. We know this to be true without question. And to think that it is against all known observable evidence. Within these words you may possibly find a belief that you can find enough faith to believe in a non-logical system. The need for Globjic. And Bev said, "Let there be Globjic." Globjic was given to help us communicate the ancient dogmatic globe with no proof and no argument into a modern day form that unthinking people might paralogize for themselves. In the beginning there was nothing. Going back to earliest recorded history and further, it has been self-evident to everyone that ever lived that 'tis globe. From measuring shadows to watching boats, even measuring angles to lights in the sky, it has been abundantly clear to everyone that performed any of these tasks or not. The only natural conclusion has ever been 'tis globe. Help us imagine a new way to argue and compete against the old ways of logic and reason. Join us in really critical thought. Let's make independent thinking a thing of the past. Logic, it has to be. Upon realizing years ago, having sure certain knowledge of tis globe, without proof wasn't as sophisticated as first thought. In the beginning there was a need for something to base the already existing imaginometry on. Some sort of non-argumentative system for us build our first principles upon. And then said, let there be logic. And there was logic and it was good. Logic was given to help us communicate the ancient dogmatic globe with no proof and no argument to a modern day form that unthinking people want to paralyze for themselves. Join us in the new as nothing, going back to earliest recorded history and further, in it that's self-evident to everyone that ever lived, let tis go. Join us in a new revolution of globe thought. Help us imagine a new way to argue and compete against the old ways of logic and reason. Join us in really critical thought. Let's make independent thinking a thing of the past. Logic is the art of the sophist, and is the antithesis to antiquated logic. As such, although impossible, when employing logic, the sophist must attempt to deny the existence of reasoning, the mortal enemy of logic. Logic is the art of the sophist, and is the antithesis to antiquated logic. As such, although impossible, when employing logic, the sophist must attempt to deny the existence of reasoning, the mortal enemy of logic. And then said, let there be logic. And there was logic, and it was good. Logic was given to help us communicate the ancient dogmatic globe with no proof and no argument into a modern day form that unthinking people might paralyze for themselves. Join us in a new revolution of globe thought. Help us imagine a new way to argue and compete against the old ways of logic and reason. Join us in ridding critical thought. Let's make independent thinking a thing of the past. Logic is the art of the sophist, and is the antithesis to antiquated logic.
That's number one.
That was good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Let me just swap it back. Right, so let's hear from the chat. Everybody's leaving. Nobody wants to hear the globe music.
Oh, they don't like the
calling me a
globe
flat
object?
earther for years,
Damn.
and they're not after one. I'd make some music for the globe. Let me.
Would they be happier if you did a flogic?
Well, I think that could be coming next. It could definitely be
Could be.
happening.
Might be
Right,
happier that way.
Then I don't know which way round to have them. That's obviously the beginning one, and I don't know. Like I'll give you the. This is the order in which they were done. Right, so this one, you might have seen this one on. I did this one last week, right? So you might have seen this. So there's three, and I'm a bit iffy. So you guys can listen to these. Tell us which way round they should be. Trilogy or number one's already done. You've heard number one. Now we've got 2 and 3, and I don't know which way round to have it. I'm thinking this one should be the last one, but I'll let you guys decide, right?
Simply put, everyone knows 'tis globe. It's a logic proof of globe. Logic states if G then G, and if G and G then G, therefore it can be proved directly by if globe, then globe. If glow and globe, then globe. Or indirectly by if not flat, then globe. It's not flat, therefore 'tis globe. If it's not flat, and it's not flat, then it's definitely globe. We can safely say it's not flat, therefore 'tis globe. Be at peace with your globe. Rest assured that we'll continue to progress through our globe. Just go grow. If it's not flat and it's not flat, then it's definitely glow. We can safely say it's not flat, therefore just glow. Be at peace with your glow. At peace with your glow. Trust in the progress through slow. Continue to progress the proofs of glow. We can safely say it's not flat, therefore 'tis glow. Be at peace with your glow. Rest assured that we will continue to progress the proofs of glow. Glow. We can safely say it's not flat, therefore 'tis glow. Glow. We will continue to progress the proofs of glow. Glow. Of glow. Of glow. We can safely say it's not flat, therefore 'tis glow, glow. Be at peace with your glow. Rest assured that we will continue to progress. Proofs of glow. Of glow. Of glow. We can safely say it's not flat, therefore 'tis glow, glow. Be at peace with your glow. Rest assured that we will continue to progress the proofs of glow.
Okay, and so that one, God says that one's the best. I think it's the most dancey one.
It's unifying as well. I think you're right. I think that's number 3.
Yeah, I think that
it's
one
got the
should
unifying.
be
Yeah, because
number
it's got some orthodox of different religions, and even was that like Goths in there. I mean, we're bringing people together. I like it.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah.
Right, here we go. And then this one is, I think this one should have been number 2, really. I like this one. Artwork as well. Okay, right, so you decide. I think this one's that should have been number 2. But, just get people in with the funky beat, and then the globe proof. Have you got any of that? Or is that just us?
What do you mean, the globe proof?
Well, I mean proof of globe.
What would that be?
You're the logician. I know we
I'm not
jokingly call you the proofless logician.
No, you said a few months ago.
Sorry, the proofless dogmatician.
Right. Okay. You said I wasn't a logician. Remember?
Well, yeah, like I say, you're proofless.
Yeah.
So that doesn't. You can't really.
You actually said
really
I wasn't.
Be a logician without any proof, can you?
Right. So there's no point asking me.
Well, I know, yeah, because you haven't got any. I mean, that's obvious. I said, like, you haven't got any, but we have. Like, we're the only ones with this proof of globe.
And yeah, so I asked, so what is that?
What the proof of
What
the
is your proof
globe?
of the globe?
Well, it's dogmatic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone knows tis globe. It has been shown that with logic, everything and anything can be linked to tis globe. Geometry axioms 4, 5, and 6. Therefore, all existing proofs within reality can also be used to prove the real globe by extension of these basic simple axioms that everyone knows to be unquestionably true. Real-world practical uses with logic can be shown thus. In the real world, it is thought to be known as tis globe. Yet anything that can be proved to be true in the real world can be used by progression of these universally changing axioms to be proved by axiomatic extension of the real globe. What follows is some logic proof of globe. Logic states if G then G, and if G and G then G, therefore it can be proved directly by and globe, and globe, then globe, and globe, and globe, or indirectly by, if not flat, then globe, it's not flat, therefore tis globe, or if it's not flat, then it's not flat, then it's definitely globe. We can safely say it's not flat, therefore tis globe. Rest assured that we will continue to progress the proofs of globe. Globus trollens, the globe that affirms by affirmation. Globus trollens, if tis G, then not flat, therefore tis globe. So starting with the premise tis globe, we can say, if the reality we live in is tis globe, tis G, then the reality we live in could not be flat, tis not flat. It's been proven by then that the reality we live in is not flat, it's not flat. Therefore, the reality we live in is tis globe, tis globe. Confirmation through globus trollens, globus balance, the globe that affirms by denial. Globus balance, there's not, therefore, starting with the premise it's not flat, not, you can say, if the reality we live in is not flat, not fuff, then the reality we live in is not flat, not fuff, then the reality we live in must be tis globe. The reality we live in has been proven to not be flat, but then not fuff. Therefore the reality we live in has to be tis globe. Tis globe, confirmation by globus balance, globus ballendo trollens. The globe that affirms by denial of affirmation. If that, then not that, not that, not, therefore that. Starting with the major premise that tis globe, we can say if that reality we live in is tis globe, then the reality we live in can't be not that, not that, not. Through logical deduction, since it's clear to everyone that ever existed in the known universe that tis globe, the natural conclusion is that tis globe cannot be at the same time both be that tis globe and not that, not tis globe. Therefore that must be that tis globe. Rest assured that we will continue to progress the proofs of globe. Be at peace with your globe. Therefore that must be that tis globe. Rest assured that we will continue to progress the proofs of globe. Be at peace with your globe. Therefore, stop living in tis globe. Be at peace with your globe.
Right, there you go. Give me some AI music.
Okay, can I have a second, please?
Disco, go on.
Okay, first of all, I was out of the loop for like the last hour because my phone died and my charger wouldn't work, so I had to find a new charger. Finally back. And I come back and it said something about G, therefore G, therefore G. I was reading it as it was going by and I laughed my ass off.
It's on the website,
That shit was funny.
You can see, you can get it all. It's all on the website. It's been on the website for ages.
Well,
I've been on the website many times. I don't remember seeing the G therefore G therefore G.
It's his globe. Yeah.
Like,
Say like I've got the proofs. Like look, we invented
thanks, man.
imaginometry so people can have that. And Globjic's just the same. It's just an extension of that theme. Been carefully observing this entire arena. Well, we know how it works. I think everybody does. I think this is how people work.
I think in light of Will Duffy's conversation about a clearly false dichotomy being a true dichotomy in his mind, that I think it's safe to say that if you can't, maybe there's a true dichotomy here. If you can't accept geometric reasoning and first principles in logos, that Globjic, right? Then Globjic. I think that's fair.
It's the beat, right? If you're,
yeah,
we've been dealing with this for a bit, right? We had a conversation with somebody at the weekend, I forget who, about how these things come around and how you imagine these things. And I've said for quite a while, geometry may seem like just lines and stuff that you did in school, but it's not. It's a delivery method. It's the ideal delivery method for the trivium, I think, in the way that the definitions are laid out, explaining grammar, right? These are the meanings of the words. That's the use of grammar in the most perfect way, right? And then you have the logic, which is the propositions and proofs within there. And the rhetoric comes in your ability to explain those things and relate them together. But you have to be able to associate these geometric proofs and the logic and the grammar and have the ability to express it through vocalization. It's the ideal tool, but it's been taken away from people. That simplicity of the whole thing. It's been removed. And now all we're left with is arguing about the usage of the words. Completely lost the relationship to logic and the grammar, I guess. I don't know. Should be more fun, this arena, than it is. It's getting all too, like Elder Bear was saying, I have heard that thing that Nathan Oakley put out. And I think it's disgusting. There's something wrong with this entire arena. Unless it's planned, right? Unless it's scripted. I don't know. I think it's training people to not ask questions and not have the conversations. I'm hoping that, conversations should be able to be had, but I think there are some conversations or some, the ability to communicate. I think it's been lost. The arena's taken it away from people.
I don't know that it's just this arena, but since we're so embedded in it, I could see how you could say that. But as I've experienced, I think it's. I was just with family. Yeah, I was just with family over the last couple of weeks that we don't often get to see, and trust me, it's everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But maybe it's I'm willing to accept that maybe human beings never had conversations. Maybe it just never happened. Maybe it's all what we read in, Plato or whatever. Maybe that's all just a lie. Maybe people were always this way when they think debate is just trying to gotchas and who can call each other a name more, who can get one over. Oh, that was a good one there. Ha ha, you got him good. Maybe that's the way it's always been. I'm open to that possibility. Sad either way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I keep thinking back to the days when Raven was around here, and thinking that, you know, it's sad that he's not here, because I don't know what would have happened had Raven still been around. But I think, you know, there was an idea that when Raven brought the logic and the trivium, there was an idea that we no longer needed this pushback or the fight by somebody, because you can work towards proofs easily by yourself, and you can formulate these logically arguments. You can do that all on your own, but then it also becomes necessary to have a pushback, which I think that keeps this arena going round and round for, I don't know how long. Don't know how long it can last. Seems like it's struggling at the minute, because they're, you know, you're talking about science. Will Duffy was doing this as well. Never really got around to saying it. It's on my board. I wanted to point it out that what we're doing, we're having this idea that there's a contradiction that must be taken. You must accept these contradictions when you accept the models. And like I said to Will Duffy, right? Perpendicularity. That's where the contradiction is on both of these models. But there's many, because of the chain of reasoning that must occur. Once you accept one contradiction, there's a massive chain of them, and they all everything then turns into a contradiction, because you've allowed one contradiction into your logic, which obviously makes your logic flawed. So Will is allowing flat earthers when he knows that the earth's not flat, and he thinks that flat earthers don't think that either about the earth being flat. But that's a contradiction. It's a blatant contradiction, which people allow other people within this arena for. It's not flat, but you can say it's flat for the purposes of this argument. Now, that means that you're coming in with a contradictory position, and your opponent is allowing you, saying like, yeah, all right, you come into this argument with a contradictory position. I just won't mention it, but we all know that you've already lost the debate, because your starting thing is contradictory. That's why there's no debate. That's why the globe earthers can smugly sit there, because their opponents, flat earthers, are coming with a contradictory position. Do you want this cup? Thank you. But nobody wants to hear about the false dichotomy. Nobody in this arena. Right, we done? Think so. My son's birthday. So I don't know what we'll be doing tomorrow, Wednesday. I'll sort this video out and put this video out as a standalone conversation, interview or whatever, for people that want to listen to it. There's a few nice clips, you know, horizontals being perpendicular on a cube earth, but perpendicular horizontals. I mean, we know it's not true, but we're going to place it as an argument to hopefully hand over other people. I don't know. The sophist trick. It's very... it's worthwhile watching people in conversations and reliving them. I think I'll probably go over that one a couple of times because I'd like to have more conversations. I would like particularly to have a chat with the Kingdom in Context guy, so I think I'll be trying to sort that one out. I think that'll be an interesting conversation. And I'm going to sort the the music out and get it get it on there. I'll get it on the YouTube. It's already on the Buster, so if you do want to listen to it, it's within the Buster playlist, but they're unlisted otherwise. Or you can go to the website, listen to them there. I think I've still got to upload one of them. Just trying to work out which order. Did we have a, like, did anybody say that? Like, which order do you reckon? 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2? I don't know. Listening to him like that, I think it might be better in that order, I think. But hey. Anybody got any requests for an outro?
Can you play that song again?
Which one?
The one with the tis globe. Tis
They
globe.
were all tis globe.
The G, therefore G, therefore G, therefore G.
The last one, I think that was.
Yeah, the last one that you just played. I enjoyed that one. I want to watch the video again so I can see the words.
Okay.
From the website.
All right. Well, we'll leave out with this one then.
Thanks, Bev.
Proof of Globe, Globjic, it's called. On the website.
Wait, before you do that, do you have that as a video you could send me that I could post in places?
Yeah, but this one's got Betty at the beginning. I do have one that's no Betty. So
if you could just send that to me, that would be cool.
I'll send you the no Betty one. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
As always, we are available. we are available in Discord, and if anybody wants to get into some gaming, we're going to start doing that. There's a brilliant new game out, early access, but I mean that's what we're playing most of the time now. Family Job as well. So I'll put this on, and we'll 5 minutes outro. We'll see you Wednesday, perhaps. You know, the globe proof. Have you got any of that, or is that just us?
What do you mean, the globe proof?
Well, I mean proof of globe. I mean,
what would that be?
Well, you're the logician. I know we
I'm not
jokingly call you the proofless logician.
No, you said a few months ago.
The proofless dogmatician.
Right. Okay. You said I wasn't a logician. Remember?
Well, yeah. Like I say, you're proofless.
Yeah.
So that doesn't. You can't really.
You actually
can't
said
really
I wasn't.
Be a logician without any proof,
so,
can you?
Right. So there's no point asking me.
Well, I know, yeah, because you haven't got any. I mean, that's obvious. I said like you haven't got any, but we have. Like we're the only ones with this proof of globe.
Yeah, so I asked, so what is that?
What, the proof of
What is
the
your proof
globe?
of the globe?
Well, it's dogmatic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone knows tis globe. It has been shown that with Globjic everything and anything can be linked to tis globe. Geometry axioms 4, 5, and 6. Therefore, all existing proofs within reality can also be used to prove the real globe by extension of these basic simple axioms that everyone knows to be unquestionably true. Real-world practical uses with Globjic can be shown thus. In the real world, it is thought to be known as tis globe. Yet anything that can be proved to be true in the real world can be used by progression of these universally changing axioms to be proved by axiomatic extension of the real globe. What follows is some Globjic proof of globe. Logic states if G then G, and if G and G then G, therefore it can be proved directly by and globe, and globe, and globe, and globe, and globe, or indirectly by tis globe. So starting with the premise tis globe, we can say if the reality we live in is tis globe, tis T, then the reality we live in could not be flat, just not flat. It's been proven by man that the reality we live in is not flat, tis not flat. Therefore the reality we live in is tis globe, tis globe. Confirmation through globus trolens, globus balance, a globe that affirms by denial. Globus balance, yes not, that not. Therefore, starting with the premise is not flat, not. You can say, if the reality we live in is not flat, not fluff, then the reality we live in is not flat, not fluff. Then the reality we live in must be tis globe. The reality we live in has been proven to not be flat, not dead, not fluff. Therefore the reality we live in has to be tis globe, tis globe. Confirmation by globus ballens, globus ballendo trollens. The globe that affirms by denial of affirmation. If that, then not that, not that, not therefore that. Starting with the major premise that tis globe, we can say if that reality we live in is tis globe, then the reality we live in can't be not that, not that, not. Through logical deduction, since it's clear to everyone that ever existed in the known universe that tis globe, the natural conclusion is that tis globe cannot be at the same time both be that tis globe and not that, not tis globe. Therefore that must be that tis globe. Rest assured that we continue to progress the proofs of globe. Be at peace with your globe. With your globe. Therefore, stop living tis globe. Be at peace with your globe.
Simply put, everyone knows 'tis globe. It's a logic proof of globe. Logic states if G then G, and if G and G then G, therefore it can be proved directly by if globe, then globe. If glow and globe, then globe. Or indirectly by if not flat, then globe. It's not flat, therefore 'tis globe. Or if it's not flat, and it's not flat, then it's definitely globe. We can safely say it's not flat, therefore 'tis globe. Be at peace with your globe. Rest assured that we'll continue to progress through our globe. Therefore 'tis globe. Or if it's not flat and it's not flat, then it's definitely globe. We can safely say it's not flat, therefore 'tis globe. Be at peace with your globe. Rest at peace with your globe. Just progress through slow globe. to progress. The proofs of globe. We can safely say it's not flat, therefore 'tis globe. Be at peace with your globe. Rest assured that we will continue to progress. The proofs of globe. Globe. We can safely say it's not flat, therefore 'tis globe. Globe. We will continue to progress. The proofs of globe. Globe. Of globe. Globe. Of globe. Globe. We can safely say it's not flat.